Everybody, we are back. It is Tapes Online's favorite podcast, favorite channel, favorite is everything. We are back. You guys already know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Hit the like button if you like it. Hit the dislike button if you don't like it. Leave a comment if you like it. Leave a comment if you don't like it. Also follow us on Twitter at DMarkJohnNFL for me, at MHolder95 for Matt. And of course, pandasubs.com. Discount code TDL for 35% off. All right. So what we're doing today is a little Senior Bowl preview. We're going to do two of these. We're going to do one this week and then one right before me and Matt head out there. And of course, we'll talk Senior Bowl while we're out there probably. I don't know how we'll figure that out. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Maybe double hotel rooms or something. I don't know. From different hotels. But
I like it.
Yeah. Right. But we're starting with quarterbacks and defensive line, which we feel like are maybe the two probably biggest positions there, as well as, kind of two big positions of need for the Raiders, we would say. Quarterbacks could be interesting because they're picking at 13. There's a couple of people at the Senior Bowl that I know a lot of Raiders fans would like at 13. So we're going to look at both those guys. We're going to look at Bo Nix and Michael Penix Jr. And I'm going to do a little. I had to do some Joe Melton. His film just made me do it. So I'm sorry, guys. I was going to do Penix and I was going to do Nix, but I just had to do Joe Melton, man. It's just intriguing, very intriguing. Right. But Matt, who are you looking at today?
So we're going to going over like three of the top defensive tackles who I think are going to be there that can play that like three technique for the Raiders. Byron Murphy, second from Texas. Brandon Dorlus from Oregon, and then Ruke Orhorhoro. Hopefully, I'm saying that last name right. From Clemson. So,
okay,
three guys that are kind of similar in their body type and how they're used and whatnot. And Murphy, we saw him. He was I think Daniel Jeremiah had him as the first defensive tackle off the board, and like pick going 11 off the board, which I thought was a little high for him right now. But who knows? That could mean the NFL views him a lot higher than we realize right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of defensive players that I saw in Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft that I was pretty surprised about that were in the top 10 because I didn't see it. Everybody else is like, it's going to be all offense, like the first 6 or 7 picks, like Joe Alt and all those guys going. And when he had the Raiders taking Olu, I thought that was interesting because I'd never seen Olu that far down. That was the first time I've seen him at 13. I was like, I didn't even think he was a possibility at that point. But that would be a tough pick for the Raiders. If they have that type of tackle, do you take the quarterback just because you like the quarterback, or do you take the best player available, which would be Olu, right? Because I haven't watched him this year. I know some people. I guess some people said he had a down year a little bit. I guess. That's what I saw Jeremiah say or something like that. I know Brandon Thorne disagreed, so I know that's all Brandon Thorne does. So that's why I trust him because all he does is watch O-line, right? He lives it, he breathes it, So that'll be an interesting pick at 13. But man, just seeing him take Nix at 14, that kind of shows how high the NFL might be on Nix.
Yeah, and no Penix in the first round too. So that was somewhat revealing. We'll see.
Yeah, he had Newton at 28 too. Had Newton at 28.
Yeah,
so
Newton fall. Well, yeah, Newton's gonna be an interesting guy. I don't know if he's eligible, but I was kind of wishing he would go to the Senior Bowl. I thought he was for a second, but I guess not. Because he's such a size outlier, but like he's not like Kalijah Cansey from last year, where like he can defend against the run. But I think he's got shorter arms and all that stuff, so I could see it in the NFL circles him sliding down. Whereas Murphy probably maybe checks a little bit more boxes, but he's not that big either. So
yeah, because I thought Murphy was about 292, right? I think he's not the.
More height and arm length. Like Newton's got, I think Newton's got T-Rex arms, whereas Murphy might be a little bit longer. We'll find out at the combine and Senior Bowl and all that stuff. But yeah, I think it's the arms.
Yeah, no, because I think Murphy might be 6'1". I think he still might be like 300 pounds. I think he's just around like 6'1".
He's 6'1". Yeah. If I remember correctly, he's like 6'1", 310, something like that. Off the top of my head, somewhere around there.
He could move though, man. He could move. I don't know who number 94 for Michigan is, but I don't know if he's coming out this year. But
Chris Jenkins,
is he coming out?
Yeah, he's Jenkins is like he was like number 6 on Feldman's freaks list, and then he didn't do anything until the last like all season until like the playoffs. Like, and then all of a sudden he turned it on and started playing well. So yeah,
he did
I'm not
the
as
spin move. Michael, I was watching Michael Penix against Michigan. Man, he did the spin move on the guard. Whew. I was like, "Who is that?"
Yeah, he did do that. Trust me, it wasn't going on all season. Like, I was watching that. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Like, you could see like the strength and whatnot, but like the movement skills that like we'd heard about. I'm like, I mean, this guy better test well because I don't get it. And then he comes out in the national championship, hitting spin moves and living in the backfield. I'm like, okay, now we can see it.
He caught my eye, man. But I was watching Penix. I was like, who is 94? Because he was dominating that game. So that's interesting because that's the type of guy that goes to the combine. He could just rise, right? Because if he's coming out.
I feel like this defensive tackle class, like in the second round, there are a lot of guys that like in that like back end of the first, second round category that are a lot of guys that like could start like moving up the draft boards, like that are good athletes, that are projects that could be a good value for the Raiders or any team that's looking for a defensive tackle in that on like day 2, like if they want to wait. So it's an interesting class.
Yeah, because I mean, if it's deep like that too, I mean, just a guy like Chris Jenkins who's kind of inconsistent, but obviously, and he's on Feldman's freak list, he's probably gonna have a great combine, and there's some traits you can bet on. That's the type of guy you want, like day 2, day 3. And, you know, hopefully, if they make some moves, they can acquire some more picks here too. I know people want to get rid of picks for like Justin Fields and stuff like that, but I feel like we need as many picks as possible. We should be trying to get rid of people for picks. And I'm not saying trade Devontae Adams or anything like that, but just that idea of getting some more picks for players like that, so you could draft a Chris Jenkins and still get a Byron Murphy if you want to take him at 13 or whatever, and you can kind of load up that defensive line because I think they got 2 horses outside.
Yeah,
and then we got a mini horse that we don't know if he can go in yet, but he has the
mini
ability.
6'6" horse. Personally, who are you talking about? I'm like, oh yeah.
We don't know if he's a full horse yet, with the horsepower. You know what I mean? We know he's a huge guy, but I think Kuntz and Crosby just need that kind of inside help a little bit, just a little bit more, so they don't have games like the Colts game where they just kind of get shut out. And the Colts have a great game plan for them, and they can't do anything inside. So, all right. Before we get into the film here, any thoughts on? Still no GM yet, right? I mean, I don't know if we missed it over recording. I don't know. Still nothing, right?
The day after like the article publishes, where I don't think it would make a ton of sense. We're about Champ Kelly and like Ed Dodds both coming on in some sort of like fashion. That seems to be picking up national steam in the national media. So I don't know. It seems like a weird situation. I wonder if that's the holdup where like they're trying to figure out like a situation where they can hire both, but maybe they're like, I mean, if I'm either one of them and I interviewed for this last time and now it's like, all right, you either got to give me the job or don't. Like,
yeah. What position? I don't know. Sorry. It just
like they're talking about having like Kelly be like or at least the rumor, the whatever's been tossed around is like Champ Kelly being like football ops guy, which football ops guy usually is like logistics stuff. Like you're not really like, unless you're the GM, you're not really like the like dude who's like helping with player eval. So I don't know why Champ Kelly or Ed Dodds would want to just jump to that side instead of staying where they're at, but especially since they're getting GM interviews elsewhere.
Yeah. And I mean, Dodds he's an assistant GM already, kind of, right? I mean, they're both assistant GMs, right? So why would they? That's why I push back on that a little bit. And I'm sure Mark Davis probably wants to do that because I think that's a little bit. I'm not gonna say the word I was gonna say, but it's just a little soft, kind of a decision
not to sit on the fence.
Pick somebody. You know what I mean? Like, which one do you like? If you like Champ, because I think they want to hire Champ, but I bet Dodds is just better, right? So what I read in the Sean Reed articles is they're split because I'm sure Dodds has a better resume, right? They're like, Mark, be smart here. And Mark's like, hey, but Champ is here. He has a great job. He did a decent job and with fixing the team mid-season a little bit by adding a couple guys on defense, and it helped a lot. So I think Davis has a love for Champ that he's holding on to, and his advisors are like hire Dodds.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty sad because
And on that note too, like I think Davis even talked like in December with Deshaun, like saying like how he didn't like the like when he had hired Reggie McKenzie and Dennis Allen at the same time. His mistake was like that he didn't have like an advisor or whatever, or someone like who had more experience with them. And then so I'm sure that's probably partially weighing on his mind too, which kind of adds fuel to the fire of well then just hire Todd's then and make the decision and move on. But yeah, weird situation, man. Oh, I guess Dawes would be a rookie GM. Yeah, I guess Dawes would be a rookie GM too. So I guess it's still the same situation. But
if Dawes is a better candidate, hire him. Yeah. Dawes looks like a mafia, like a mafia guy who works for. He's a cop, but he works for the mafia. That's what Dawes is.
He's like. A crooked cop. That's what you're going for.
He just has that look. Man. He's a crooked cop.
Is it because he's bald? Is that what it is?
It's, I don't know. It's bald, and this is how he looks at the camera when in his picture. It's just,
I can see it because a lot of pictures I see of him have like the shades on and stuff like that. So there you go.
He's got some works up there, man. Just so I don't know. But to me, like if he's a better candidate, just hire him. Like it's like what are we doing? And I feel like that's the hold up. Or just hire Champ, and just make a decision. It makes me a little nervous,
Yeah.
All right, let's get into this film though. The film is why we're here, so we'll get into this Senior Bowl film. How about you go first, Matt? Let's do some defensive line. Yeah,
defensive tackles first.
All right, yeah, let's go to the trenches first.
Starts and ends in the trenches, right?
Exactly.
All right, so apologies for most of this. We're gonna be working off the broadcast, but we got to do what we can. But yeah, I can start off looking at Byron Murphy. Like I said, one of the things that I think really pops off about him is he's kind of both quick and strong. Like you'll see a little bit here. I see some of the quickness and the athleticism on this rep. Like not the best at first, but eventually ends up winning around the edge. And what I like too is I want to pause it right here. Like right here, he's kind of gotten beat, right? Like the offensive lineman, he's making first contact, gets to his shoulder. What I like is he keeps working those hands, and you can see a little bit of the pass rush motor. This is probably going to be his worst rep that we're going to watch. But as we see a little bit later here, going to see him work those hands again and get those quick wins and flush that quarterback out of the pocket. I'm going to back this up a little bit too because it was quickly off the snap. Like if you see him does a great job of playing the hands, using that rip move to go ahead and get pressure. And this was like if you watch the College Football National Championship, this was basically all game. If you went back and at least watch that first half, you can see a similar move here just on the other side. Nice little club by. And again, big situation to force the ball out of the pocket with about 10 seconds here left in the game and third down. Moving on to him against the run. So obviously, like I was talking about, got a good blend of strength and athleticism. You get to see the strength on this one. I mean, just bench presses this left guard here for Oklahoma and ends up making the play. So again, this is what's so intriguing about all these guys really, and especially Murphy, is he can move like we've seen before, and we'll see on this rep here where he just wins with a pure get off, and he's strong as hell too to kind of do the more traditional plays like we saw in the clip before. I mean, that's just pure get off and speed that he's ended up getting in the backfield and getting into that tackle for loss. Moving into Brandon Dorlus, one thing you'll probably notice throughout these clips is Oregon kind of used him, especially this past year, all up and down the offensive line. Like here he's, or the defensive line, excuse me. Like here he's technically playing end as a 4-eye technique. We'll see him at the edge later. But another guy, great combination of strength and athleticism. I know Colorado's offensive line wasn't good this year, but to do this to another Division I offensive lineman is pretty damn impressive. I mean, there's a push-pull with one arm where he puts the guy on his face, and then to top it off. What's up?
It's a good Lord, man. That was crazy.
I know, right? Like that's, again, Colorado's offensive line was trash, but it's a strong dude. And then, two, to see the athleticism to kind of like break down in the pocket here and bring down a athletic quarterback in Shedeur Sanders. Like, dude can play, man. Here we're going to see a little bit more of the athleticism. Again, I think this is probably a third down situation, but lined up shaded on the guard technically, but, you know, really more like a 4-eye technique. And Colorado's going to shift their pass protection to him with the guard and the center, like being responsible for him. Puts that outside foot in the ground and ends up crossing both of their faces and winning the other side and forcing that ball out. Like, can see, again, the movement skills combined with his strength, that's what gets you excited. And that's also what allows Oregon to play him up and down the line and be so position versatile. So he can move and he can hold his own in the trenches. All right, so this next clip, you're going to see more of the power rush. I mean, puts that poor right guard from Washington on skates, ends up getting the sack here on Marcus's boy Penix. And I mean, too, you like just watch the guard. Like, at no point is he able to set that anchor. And I had probably at least 2 more clips of this against that same guy where Dorlus was just physically abusing that dude. And again, strength and power and some athletic ability. Moving on to him against the run. This is actually going to be from last season. Again, playing at more of an end. He's going up against Warren McClendon and then Darnell Washington. So 2 guys that were drafted in last year's class. Let's see, got a little mid zone here. It looks like from Georgia. And what I like too is he does a great job of reading it and then attacking McClendon and getting skinny. So that gives Washington less room to be able to block him. And then he just takes the fight to McClendon, where he's actually getting extension and getting off the block. And as soon as that running back cuts back inside, I mean, he's right there to make the play. That's a high quality rep against a high quality opponent right there. Like, again, strength and athleticism, baby, all day. That's his game.
This guy's impressive.
Dude, I like Dorlus a lot. I was kind of surprised. Like, I know he was getting some buzz. I was kind of surprised he was the one that was, or he wasn't the one that was getting more first round love in the defensive tackle discussion from Jeremiah. But we'll see how he does at the Senior Bowl. Again, this is going back to last year too, or excuse me, 2022. Going up against Jordan Morgan, who I believe has been kind of in that late first round, maybe early second category for offensive tackles from Arizona. And I mean, can't set the edge much better than that. Like, he dominates Morgan so much that Morgan ends up tripping over the guard, and that running back has to bounce all the way outside and into the cornerbacks, which is exactly what you want. I got to fire my video editor here for cutting the play off real quick. But you can see that. Ruke Orhorhoro, another guy that's kind of in the same vein. Orhorhoro, a little bit about his background. He actually grew up in Nigeria or lived in Nigeria for the beginning part of his life, and then didn't pick up football or didn't start playing football until his junior year of high school. And the reason why I bring that up is he's still kind of raw, but like you can see some of the strength and the athleticism that he has, again, where he's got a high ceiling. He's just one of his biggest things is I think he's got to work on his use of hands as a pass rusher, which we'll actually see a few good clips on this one of him doing that. But definitely a little bit more of a project versus Dorlus or Murphy. But on this rep, you'll see he does a great job getting a square on this guard to give himself the 2-way go, and then just watch him flip his hips and win around the edge. Like, for a dude that's 290 pounds, you're not going to see somebody make it look this easy where he just kind of gets around and works the edge. There's your boy Melton, too. Got a few shout-outs from your guys. All right. This is going to be this season. Again, this is actually a pretty good job of playing the hands here. Little hand swipe. You can see him fight through contact a little bit at the top of the rush. We'll see this a little bit better on the next clip. That's another thing. He stays on balance and able to get the quarterback hit and force that ball out quickly. Another big situation there, too. All right. This one, he actually doesn't really work a pass rush move other than a rip, but this is what I'm talking about where, like, you can see the movement skills, especially at 290, like, just kind of wins around the edge. I mean, it's bad pass pro by this left guard. But what I like, too, is it's off balance here, comes to balance, turns a pretty tight corner to go get that sack, and still ends up getting it. Like, again, you're not going to see a whole lot of guys that are 290 that can do this, that can move like that. All right. And then this is going to go back to, I believe this might be this year, but this is going back to last season once again. But again, little zone run here from Florida State. What I like too is off the ball. And again, for a guy that doesn't have a ton of experience playing football, he recognizes this quickly, plays into the center with good hands and leverage right here, able to keep him off his body, and boom, gets the TFL. Now this one, I'm just going to let it run for the first time. Now, and this run obviously still ends up going for a big gain, but I don't know about you, Marcus. I haven't seen many 3-puller counters in the NFL. But again, so with him in this run fit, he's going to be responsible for forcing everything back inside. And that is, I mean, picture perfect force technique to get air on this dude and then put him on his ass. Now, I would like to see him finish and make the play there, but again, he's not going to have to worry about this other tackle. And this really should be this linebacker's play to make if he scrapes over the top, because, I mean, that's literally, you can't ask for anything else better than that.
That was terrible by the linebacker.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyway, I mean, like I said, 3 guys that I think are fairly similar. A lot to like in both areas of the game. If I had to rank all 3 of them, probably be in the order that we put it up there, or displaying the clips. So interesting defensive tackles this year. A lot of good athletes who have some power.
Yeah, I mean, that was impressive. That was probably the best 3. I mean, this is a good defensive tackle class. Those guys are at the Senior Bowl and they're not getting a lot of buzz, and that got filmed like that because, I've been trying to search for a defensive tackle to add for this team for a while in the draft. And just to see those 3 guys.
That's what I'm saying is there's a lot of good dudes there's a lot of dudes in that like 2nd, 3rd round category that you might be able to find a guy that ends up being outperforming their draft slot. I mean, Leonard Taylor's a guy that we're not going to talk about either. He's going to the Shrine Bowl. He's a dude too. He can be a good pass rusher as well. So a lot of intriguing DTs in this class.
Yeah, because that's, I saw Jim Nagy's tweet about I don't know if you saw that this morning, talking about there's not a lot of like depth in this draft this year. Then the rounds 5 through 7 are basically kind of like a dumpster fire with grades. So it's gonna be important. And this is definitely, I always say the draft is 4 rounds, but this year it's definitely 4 rounds. So the Raiders they gotta make sure they could get the best players they can with their first 4 picks, and they have to make sure they have picks. We can't do the whole 5th round thing this year where we have like 5 5th round picks. This year it's not gonna fly with the depth of this draft. There's like 54 underclassmen or something small like that.
And it keeps getting low. Yeah.
And that COVID, we got all these 25-year-olds coming out this year, so we got to go.
Yeah, it's funny when I saw that tweet and Nagy, I'm like, oh, that's why they added all those dudes late, like because they added like a bunch of guys who I'm like was head scratching. I'm like, why are you like? I feel like they have more like guys that are projected undrafted free agents in this year's Senior Bowl than they normally do, which speaks to what he was talking about. Like they added a bunch of dudes who were like way low on draft boards and whatnot. So
yeah, because I was doing quarterbacks. I'm like, who's Carter Bradley?
Last year they had Bajan out there.
Yeah, but I mean, at least Bajan was like the best player in Division II. Like he's like MVP and stuff. Like Carter, who it's like they needed a 6th quarterback and they couldn't find one. So Carter. Yeah, so the East West Shrine game must be like that must not have a lot of talent then at all. If
they got a few guys. They got I mean, like I said, Taylor's probably one of the better ones out there. Edrin Cooper, linebacker from Texas A&M's, a good player. They got like a couple, but yeah, their roster's not as impressive. I don't know if they have a 1st round pick on it.
No Zay Flowers this year, huh? No Zay Flowers.
No. And Zay practiced 1 day last year.
You went up there, kind of called passes. Why'd you just go to the Senior Bowl, man? Did you not get an invite to the Senior Bowl?
No, he did. I think the rumor was that the Patriots were interested in him, and because he went to Boston College, so there was like an easy connection there. And the Patriots staff was at the Shrine Bowl last year, so they wanted him to go to told him to go to Shrine Bowl because they were interested in him.
And he ended up in Baltimore.
Yeah, he ends up going to Baltimore.
That's crazy. All right, so let's get into these quarterbacks. I know that's everybody came to see it, but defense tackles, that was good to watch because that got me excited because that makes me feel like even if the Raiders waited till day 2 to grab some defense tackles, they could probably maybe double up on a couple of those guys because there's some talent there. That's all here. All right, let's get into these quarterbacks. All right, so we're gonna do Bo Nix, Joe Melton, and Michael Penix Jr. All right, so we start off with Bo Nix. All right, so Bo Nix, I mean, his tape is actually pretty impressive. It's not bad. I think you just have to get Auburn out of your head, but like throws like this are just crazy, right? This is an anticipation throw right here. You see it on this one. Bring it back here. See where he starts throwing this ball. This guy's not even really looking yet. Just a dime. He's pretty accurate when he has his feet set and he is in his fundamentals. When it's off, in which he does not consistent there, so you can see the accuracy issues. But you just see the arm strength, man. Look at this throw. Like it's just crazy throws. This Oregon State game was nuts. And he's consistent too. Consistent, great throws. But one thing I did notice is that he was never touched. And we'll talk about that a little later. You'll see this pocket, man. This is a great pocket. It's an amazing pocket. With the arm strength, there's the size. And it's a perfect throw. Right on the money.
Layered too.
Right. And then you see some of the crazy arm strength playmaking ability he can do. So we'll see this one. He just fades. Just still gets it there. So he has a big arm, huge arm. A lot of the quarterbacks in his draft do this, which I really like. I think there's not a lot of weak armed, let's say Tua tag up high low quarterbacks. But you see, I mean, that's arm strength right here, guys. He is fading away and he's throwing this ball 20 yards, fading away. The flick of the wrist.
Pure arm strength.
Right there, right on the money. Let's see. And then there's this play, which is just nuts, which I don't know why he even did. I was watching this on film and I stopped it here and I was like, there's no way he's going to throw this. And he does. That is crazy arm strength, though. Across his body. You just saw Jordan Love do that. So but he will do that in games. If you don't, he'll do the Jordan Love thing. What Jordan Love did last night, if you watched the playoff game, which I'm sure most of you guys did, you watched this channel, he's going to do that. Because this is nuts. Even him to see that, it's like, hey, you know what? Touchdown, though. That's why Oregon was so explosive, man. You know, one of those things that he does really well. Here he gets to get out of the pockets. Another crazy one right here. Just a flick of the wrist. Touchdown. And this is what he can do. This is what he brings, right? And so there's a lot you could work with. Let's say that.
Yeah.
And I was wondering after watching this film, I was wondering where he would be slotted at, and to see Jeremiah have him in the first round. So because he's first round talent, 100%. Yeah. First round talent. So there's a lot of things to like about him. But sometimes you can get into some different things with him with like pocket presence. So on this one, kind of gets cut off because I got this stupid box on it. Sorry about this, guys, but we'll see it better on this side. But he had a chance to step up in this pocket. There's some guys running open here, right? If he stepped up and was calm under pressure, he could take this. So that's the thing. So he has so many clean pockets that when he was under pressure, it just wasn't good. He just doesn't have great pocket presence. Doesn't have a good feel. He panics a little bit. So this is a lot of panic here, in my opinion, because he could just step up very calmly in the pocket and hit this tight end coming across the field. He has the arm strength for it. He can throw that ball across the field like that. Yeah. Set his feet. There's room. He could even step up, set his feet, get his feet pointed towards his target, and throw that ball. Instead, he takes a sack.
Yeah.
And this is on his film. A lot of this is on his film. So same thing kind of here. Like if he steps up in the pocket, see how the safety is turning this way to take this guy. He has the arm strength to do this. This is what I'm pointing it out. We just saw him throw the ball across the field 50 yards. He can make this throw on that post route right there. If he just steps up, that's a touchdown for him. But instead, he kind of just panics a little bit under pressure. And he's not even really under pressure on this.
Yeah.
On this one. He's not under pressure. He just needs to step up in the pocket. And
if anything, he drifted into it.
Yeah.
Like a little bit at the top of there.
So that's the thing is he doesn't handle pressure very well because he never was really under pressure. So that's when the panics and the mistakes might come in the NFL. But he is a first round talent. That's why I would be a little scared to take him at 13 because he's a little bit of a project just because of some of these things. And I think the offense that he's in, and Oregon didn't ask him to do progression. So you see here, he just stares down this target and just throws it and brings the safety right there. So there's no eye manipulation or anything like that. And this is a 23-year-old. So he's been college football a long time. Go ahead.
I think going back to what we were talking about with Glenn the other day, I think that's part of the scary part with like a guy like even Jaden Daniels and Nix, like if they're a project, like they're so old. Like typically when you're talking about a project, you're talking about a guy like Anthony Richardson who was 20 and only had 1 year starting experience. You know what I mean? Not a guy that
Yeah.
has been in college for 6 years.
Exactly. So that's a little bit of Bo Nix. So it's the handling of pressure and kind of just staring down targets and not doing the same thing. But now we have Michael Penix Jr. is kind of the same guy, in my opinion, without the mobility and the crazy throws. That's basically what Michael Penix Jr. is. So you see here, he has an amazing deep ball. So man, we've probably seen this past a couple times if you're a fan of this channel. But this is just a pure dime here. And, he throws this ball really early. He has good anticipation in the pocket. Gets that ball out right where it needs to be. Big play. So, and then there's this one right here. He just kind of gives a little, let me go back a little bit. And then, the arm strength is just crazy with Penix too. It's just a flick of the wrist there. 35 yards back shoulder, Yeah. So you see these throws from him consistently on film, just kind of just a flick of the wrist, arm strength, and you can see some Byron Murphy there too.
Yeah, see some pressure from Byron Murphy.
Mix it up there, and then this is one of my favorite throws. Anticipation is pretty consistent from Penix. I mean, sometimes he can be late, but you can see the anticipation here on this throw right there. Steps through it, right there on the money, touchdown. See a little better backside here. Washington takes like 80 seconds to call a damn play. There. Nice throw right there. So, I mean, there is a lot to like with Penix. We'll get to the other kind of NFL quarterback concerns though. But you see anticipation here. Again, this is some good anticipation on this one. Get rid of that ball. Nice. On time. You see the arm strength there. So yeah, I mean, there's some things to like. There's some things to like here. And I think he's gonna need a good week too. He's gonna need a really good week to kind of get into the first round, especially with some of the injury concerns he has. And just this problem here, which we'll get into, which is accuracy. I think he's, out of all these guys, a lot of these guys that I watch, he's probably the most inaccurate quarterback of all. So you're going to see it on this play. This is a huge play in the national championship game. And he just I don't know what happens on this throw.
I felt like he overthought it and was trying to keep it away from the safety when he didn't really need to with the safety's hips.
Yeah. You see where this safety's hips is right here. I mean, this is total blown coverage. You just could have threw it to him, and it's kind of like you'll see it on the backside. It's a little bit more mechanics and just no touch on this ball either. But I mean, it's an issue. It's an issue. His accuracy is a big issue for me, and it's missing easy throws like this one, right? And you see it a little bit on this side with his mechanics. Right? It's pushing that football. It's such an easy throw. And then here's another one here. It take 80 seconds to call a play. All right. Here you go. So on this one, you see him step up. And I mean, it's a good read here. It's a good place to go with the football. Just overthrows it. I think they only get 3 on this drive. All right. And steps up, does a good job stepping up. He just that accuracy. Stay consistent. And then, the pocket presence too with him, he's a panicker too. I mean, him and Nix, I feel like they have some of the best offensive lines in college football. And then when they face some teams that put pressure on them, that's where they had issues. Because, I mean, this is pure panic. He's panicking. That's a panic throw.
Yeah, double clutch it too.
You see a little bit better on this side. It is an issue. Just a little bit of a panicker. Panics. Under pressure a little bit. And then you see it on this one too here. This is another one. He's not really under pressure again on this one. But it's just a little bit. There's a little bit of pressure from the inside. I mean, he has this guy right here. He could just dump it off right there. Or he could dump it off right here. but he sees it late, and then he throws an inaccurate pass. So, like I said, him and Nix have so many similarities to them. Just Nix has the ability to create more than he does, but I feel like they're like basically the same kind of offense. The great offensive line, they didn't have to deal with any pressure. All right, so let's get into my wild card here. This is my wild card guy. I think if this guy has a great week, guys, I'm telling you, this dude is a great person. These rest of these guys better watch out. Nix and Penix better watch out. If he's a great person, he studies, he picks up offense really quick because his offense cannot be translated. This is not an NFL offense. It's basically just pure college super spreader, is what they call it. This is Joe Melton, the third. Former guy with Jim Harbaugh. But you just see the arm talent here, man. This is just a freakish throw. It's just freakish. Under pressure.
Beautiful ball.
No, man. This is the SEC too, man. They went 8-4. You had a good game against Alabama. Show some of those games too. Dime. Then here's this one. You just see the arm strength. Well, you see the system just is built on these guys being late, and sometimes CJ Stroud always kind of made me think about the system with guys being late. So sometimes it's like, can he anticipate in college? Or he would anticipate in the NFL, or is that just the college system that he doesn't? Because CJ Stroud came in the NFL, he was anticipating like he has been his whole life. So he didn't do that at Ohio State. It made no sense to me. But you just see the arm strength in here, man. I mean, this is make every single throw, you make it outside, effortless.
I mean, you can be a little late if you have a hose like he does.
just effortless, and then you got this kind of just fade away throw right here with a nice anticipation on it. So you see where he throws this ball. This guy hasn't really turned yet. The ball's already in the air. Great placement right there. Touchdown. So, I mean, this dude, he's just so talented, man. He's 6'5", 237, something like that. And then, he has great pocket presence too. You talk about the pocket presence of the other guys. This dude has some natural pocket ability. He's a pretty good pocket passer. See him just step up here, throw a dime down the field. I'm telling you, they better hope he's not a great guy. I'm telling you, man. If he's a great guy, if he can study, if he knows the books, if these NFL teams start to fall, I mean, this is why this could be a big week for him, because he's just, for what has worked in the NFL recently, I mean, this is kind of what you want, the big guy who can move with the cannon, right? And you haven't really missed on these type of guys lately. And here's more pocket presence here. I kind of want to talk about it, but you kind of just see him step up. You see total opposite what we saw from Nix, right? Guy comes around the corner, he just steps up a little bit, gets his feet set, those dime.
Yeah, he looks a lot more comfortable under pressure.
And this one I want to show is this is very simple, right? But you see just a nice little slide, make a good read. It's just small things like that, man. It's just why I think that he might be a better pro quarterback than a college quarterback. And that happens, man. It does happen, guys. I mean, Josh Allen's a great example. And then of course he can move too. He could run some some quarterback power with him. So there's a lot there. There's a lot there with him. It's just, with him, just the accuracy issues. This one gets tipped. But we'll go to the next throw here. It's just not consistent. He has no touch. Let's just say that. He doesn't know what touch is. It doesn't exist to him. So you can see on this one, like this ball just needed a little bit of touch. He just throws a fastball. He throws his ball as hard as he could.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like that's the biggest problem with him is if you're 50 yards down the field or 5, he's gonna throw 100 miles an hour.
This one just shows pure artistry because it's funny, but this kind of shows the inaccuracy too. Because you see this guy where this guy's moving, but you see how hard he throws it. So this is just like on another part of this game, he has like this 65-yard throw where he doesn't complete it, but he throws it like 65 yards in the air. It's just crazy. And that was kind of highlighting this because see how he kind of steps up and makes a stupid decision here because he knows that he can throw this ball past these guys if he just has enough time I can slide up. I can throw that ball 70 yards. But instead, the ball still went 30 yards. It ends up being a pick. And these are some of the things that he does on film. Like he believes in his arm so much that he makes some stupid decisions like this because if these guys were winning inside and he steps up like he's trying to rev up to throw to that ball, but your guys are losing, man. You just can't toss it up like this. That's how you lose games. But that is the Senior Bowl quarterbacks. This is why I'm going to the Senior Bowl, because this is a great group. No matter how, this is like the best group I've seen in a long time. Probably since, to be honest, since Herbert and Love.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say Allen and Baker a few years ago.
But Herbert and Love was a good group out there.
Yeah. Damn. Be interesting. I'm gonna be down to watch some Melton 1-on-1s now. That should be fun. Just go routes all day and see if you can drop them in the bucket.
Oh man, see, I didn't even show some of his go routes that he threw, but man, he threw some pretty go routes, man. His film was just kind of, I guess it shocked me a little bit because he had a whole lot of buzz going into the year. I felt like people were pushing him as QB1 going into the year, and it kind of just faded away. Not pushing his QB1, but like up there with Caleb and Drake May, like maybe being the third guy. Jaden Daniels had a big year, which he kind of put himself up there, but Melton kind of felt like he just kind of fell back, but I don't understand why that happened because he didn't have a bad year. It's just Tennessee didn't win a lot of games, I guess. But he played pretty well in the SEC. They went 4-4 in the SEC. He had a pretty good game against Alabama. He kept them in that game. And Florida, that was kind of an ugly game for him a little bit. But there's just a lot there to work with. That it's interesting that he had that much buzz going into the year. Then it kind of just fell off. And that's why I think at the Senior Bowl, if he has a good week, people will go back to the film again and be like, oh, maybe he is as good as we thought he is. And Penix and Knicks better watch out. That's what I'll say for their draft stock. He's just 6'5", 230. There's just a lot to work with. But Knicks, for the Knicks, I think he has a chance to be the first round pick. I just don't know about Penix Jr. I think it's a little iffy for him. Got any thoughts on those quarterbacks?
I don't know too much about the quarterbacks. I know with the Melton, I think the problem is like everything you showed, like we knew that about him coming into this year. I just think he hasn't shown the growth that you were hoping for over the last year. And he's also that like 6-year senior, I believe.
He's 23 too, man. These guys are old. These guys are old. They're mature.
Yeah, these guys are coming in like on AARP cards nowadays with the COVID eligibility rules. All these dudes are like 24. You got a dude who's got like 9 years. He's about to play 9 years in college football. It's insane. But yeah.
Aiden Kyle's 25 already, right? He's already almost a veteran.
That's right. Yeah. O'Connell was a 6-year guy too. That's right. Damn. Man.
All these guys is old, man.
It's interesting too that it's the quarterbacks too. You know what I mean? Like obviously Caleb Williams and Drake May are the outliers, but like it feels like if you're a quarterback nowadays, you're either coming out after 3 years or you're staying for 6. No in between.
Yeah. See, the thing is that I like seniors. I think seniors, most of the time, seniors are probably have a better hit rate than juniors. If you just look at the last recent years of Burrow and Herbert and some of those guys that actually were seniors, even Jordan Love, seniors. He's redshirt junior. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, he was. But he went to the Senior Bowl. But some of those guys,
4 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I think sometimes seniors can look pretty good. Will Levis, came out looked pretty good this year. So sometimes quarterback's probably the only position in the NFL where sometimes you can get better as you get older. So that's the thing with playing the quarterback position. But the flip side of that is that I expect you to play better early.
Yeah, your ceiling is lower. Your perceived ceiling is lower. Like,
your clock,
much better. Yeah.
You got to be good by 20. You're closer to 27. I need you to be good a lot quicker than if I take like Drake May, who's probably 21. You get to 24, 25, he might start hitting that where you start taking it off and he's starting to understand football from a better perspective. But you're 24, bro. You
better hit the ground running.
You better become ready to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you're not good by 27, I don't think you're good at all. So your clock is quicker with these guys. So I don't know. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see how these quarterbacks do. But Milton's intriguing, man. He's just so big. He's just humongous.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. All right. Any last thoughts? Anything else?
I mean, not much, man. I'm looking forward to diving into this class a little bit more. I know we got some interesting names at the Senior Bowl, like you mentioned, and the one-on-ones for the in the trenches should be a lot of fun to watch this year too. To keep in mind, so we'll be reporting as we go along, I guess.
Yeah. You can check out some guards and stuff this week. To see what they got, some O-line, see what they got up there. You know,
for sure.
Yeah. All right. We're out of here, guys. Like I said, hit the subscribe button, subscribe. And it's draft time. It's draft time, guys. It'll probably free agency soon. We ain't got a GM yet, so we're not gonna worry about that. We got some scouts though. I'm sure the Raiders still got scouts out there. So yeah, we're good. All right, guys. Peace.